Hi there. So next we will dive into Cubase and see how to use advanced MIDI controllers, touchscreen and iPad with Cubase when creating music. So let's get going with Cubase and see how this is all coming together. Okay, then let's look on the ROLI LUMI keyboard. That is an advanced MIDI controller as well, but it is a MPE type of a controller, so it's a MIDI polyphonic expression type of a controller, so that that is a kind of a new add-on into MIDI standard that you can send multiple MIDI messages and use multiple MIDI channels for a single kind of a note that you play. Or so here is a good example on that. What does it mean? Currently I have programmed the LUMI in a way that when I play, the stronger my touch is, the stronger the sound will play. And that's something that you can of course program whatever that might need to do with the kind of pressure. So I have the pressure here now enabled. However, I can also do a pitch bend, and if I enable pitch bend, now I can have a pressure and pitch bend in a single key. So that's the great thing about these MPE type of controllers, so that they give you a lot more expression to play and be more expressive in your play. So depending on your touch, you can get quite interesting sounds. And then of course what action will be from that pitch bend and so on, all that can be controlled and programmed and changed. So that is actually a one great thing regarding on this keyboard, but there are others as well that work in an MPE type of a thingy. So if you are interested in that, so you just can Google different type of advanced MIDI controllers that has an MPE support in it, and then that will give you an idea what type of controls there are currently available. But that's shortly and briefly about MPE type of a keyboard and what's the utilization of it and when creating music. Okay, let's move on. Okay, next we will talk about Stream Deck, yet another advanced controller to control Cubase. With Stream Deck you have an option of course to create different type of macros, keyboard shortcuts and so on and so forth. So for example, if you just want to do a hotkey, you can go and drag and drop it over here. Then you can click and assign, like let's say that you do a shift command S and program to save, like I have done the command S here. So that's how easily you can create this. However, for Cubase there is actually another option, and that is that someone has created a Cubase extension for Stream Deck. You don't have to go and install it. You need to go into and look the extensions in the store. So from here you can find these extensions that you can bring in, and then once you have installed, they will come a visual in your Stream Deck, like in this case for example, and then you can just basically bring it here. And then now if you would like to do some automation or add a track, you could basically also say that what is the command and category is add a track. So now if I would like to add a track, I just then press that button. So I'll just give it a name so that I know what I'm pressing. But this is actually great because these are pre-programmed for Cubase, so any of these then can be. And then of course you can create menus as well. like underneath this edit, I have an edit functionality to mute clips, to repeat clips, to join, to split, and so on and so forth. So all that can be easily configured within Stream Deck. And then, but yeah, let's test out, for example, this add a track, which is kind of simple, but it kind of gives you an idea that how this controller works. And now I could just add a track that I want. Or I can go into the mixer, or I can press start, and things like that. So this is very handy in a sense to kind of speed up things in your workflow. You can also create quite extensive macros, so it's just not one keyboard shortcut, but it can in chain, it can create multiple commands or run multiple commands. So in that respect, it's extremely handy. And yeah, so that's about the Stream Deck, and let's move on. Next, we will look into a fader controller, which is an advanced controller, and in this case, I have a solid state Logic SSL UF8. They have a range of these type of controllers. This is the one that I have, and I use it, of course, when mixing and mastering, but I also use it for transport control. Then I use it for different keyboard shortcuts and Digital Audio Workstation functions. So that's basically the kind of like Okay, next we will look into solid state Logic UF8. It's an advanced MIDI controller. It's a fader controller. So that is, of course, the main functionality of this. They have different units for plug-in controller and so you should check them out. They are pretty good. They are solid. They are like metal, and they integrate with many digital audio workstations. That's one reason why I would choose this, because I use multiple digital audio workstations, so I can use this with any of those. And then also another thing is that I can easily program and customize it. As you can see here, I have the application here for my Cubase, and here you can do different type of customization. So you can define, what these quick buttons do. You can define what these V-boards do, like you have here. Now you have the view like what you have here, the EQ strip, VST instrument, and so on and so forth. But you can change these, and then of course you can also in real time, if you want to color code this, so you can make that blue, or you can make an EQ yellow or green, or whatever colors you would like to use to separate certain things in here. And then of course you can work with plugins and inserts and channels, so all that can be controlled from here as well. And then of course as a base mixer controller. But the good thing with UF8 is that you can configure all these and make your own commands and macros also into this. So as you can see, I have several devices that deal with macros and keyboard shortcuts. However, I'm intent to use one or two of those when creating music. Anyway, I just wanted to show out different type of controllers that there is. So let's just close this one. But this is basically for configuring the system, and how easily you can create this is the same as in Stream Deck. If you want to do a keyboard macro, you do it here. If you want to utilize a DAW command, you go here. So these are mapped to the equivalent commands in Cubase automatically, so you don't need to worry about that. So that's how you basically then configure this, and that gives you the extensibility of this controller. So, but let's close this one and do certain examples here. So for example, the quick control one was changing between the mixer and the arrangement view. And then of course you can go and select any of the channels that you want to work with. Then if you wanna, let's go into here, and you wanna play, you wanna solo, and all that of course that you have in a basic console works here as well. So all that is kind of pitchy. And then of course if you would have many channels, you can scroll through the channels, or you can bank them, or you kind of the regular stuff that you usually do with fader controller. And let's go back here, and for example now if you want to see the instrument is Machina 2, and I could basically control that from here. I could go into the strip, and I could go into the EQ and change the parameters from it. I could also deal with the FX sense and so on and so forth. So that's basically how I can control everything from this quite easily and quite flexibly. Okay, let's move on. Alrighty, let's pause the video over here and continue next Thursday. Remember to subscribe for the channel for more content. See you next Thursday. Thanks for watching. Bye now.